What was considered romantic in the past that would absolutely not learn today? Semi-related, I went out with a girl, and I would get out and open the door for her when we went out in my car. After about the second day, she complimented me on being such a gentleman, and that no one has done that for her. I laughed. Then I told her I forgot to tell her the inside door handle on the passenger side car was broken, so that's the only way to open the door. Well, anyway, it worked, I guess. I've been married to her for 12 years and she's the mother of my 2 kids. Sending anonymous flowers with a card that reads, "You are love to my workplace when nobody I know besides my current boyfriend knows where I work." Turns out it was my co-worker's fiancé, and no, he did not consult with her. I never got clarification about what possessed him to even do that. But the moment I finally found out who had sent them, I told the co-worker that her fiancé is no longer allowed in the office. She married him soon after and they have 2 babies now. Yeah. He college that they met at. He went to the records office and got her schedule. Apparently anyone could do that at the time, and waited outside of each of her classrooms to walk her to her next class. He did this for like a week. She thought it was both slightly annoying and romantic. In old movies, the hero grabs the heroine really forcefully and forcibly plants a kiss. Dude, what the actual fuck? If my boyfriend tried that on me, he'd get a slap and a clawing from the cat. That and the variations on the girl struggling to get away. It then melts into the forcible kiss. Alright. Not really romantic as attractive, but I remember there being a point in time where having tuberculosis was like some supermodel shit. Oh. How wonderful is the blood you cough up, darling. The way you are pale as a corpse is so utterly sensual. Perhaps Stephanie Meyer is the reincarnation of one of those people. My dad followed my mum across the country. She was doing an internship where he worked, and when it was over she had to go back home to Texas. They weren't dating or anything. She had a boyfriend at the time. But my dad said he couldn't let her get away, so he jumped in his shitty car and drove to Texas. Courtship that relies on being overly persistent. It used to be cute to hear stories of when I first met her she wanted nothing to do with me. I showed up to her job with flowers every day until she said yes, and we eventually fell in love. Nowadays, that's just straight up harassment. My paternal grandparents were Italian immigrants coming separately through Ellis Island as kids. Around 1910, they settled in an Italian community near Philadelphia. As family law has it, my grandfather kidnapped my grandmother and kept her out overnight. After that, they had to get married. Incessantly asking someone out. I've met so many older women with husbands that wore them down over time to get them on a date. Their generation saw it as earnest romantic. They ended up having terrible marriages anyway. Doing that now rightfully earns you a restraining order. A matador fighting a bull, killing it, cutting its ear off, and then presenting a bloody handkerchief to a woman. There was a story we used to have to read in school that included a matador fight, and this happened. Most of the girls just cried for the bull being killed. Being announced at a wedding as Mr. and Mrs. John Smith. That used to be a thing, and I always cringed because it felt like the bride was completely giving up her identity. Also, a woman sitting in the car after you part waiting for you to walk around and open her door. In an episode of The Twilight Zone, unrelated to the supernatural element of the plot, a man hits on a woman by telling her she reminds him of his sister. She takes it as a compliment, as intended by the speaker, but it stood out as unrecognizably old-fashioned to me. Forcible kissing. The old movies always show a woman who is mad or emotional getting forcibly kissed by the male lead, and after a second of surprise are suddenly really into it. Now that is a great way to get slapped and sued for assault. You weren't. Like my granddad met my nan when she was 13 and he was 20. They waited till she was old enough, but that's still gross to me. Like you're just sat waiting for the child you love to be legal. My dad tried to hit on my mum by asking her a mussel recipe, which in French is very disturbing, because mussel maul is one way of saying vagina. Never understood how they went to have 3 children together. I think I'm in the wrong side of the attractiveness scale, because offering to buy someone a drink does not land for me. Usually just a waste of $5 or $8, and inevitably another one for my sorrows. The entirety of the movie The Notebook, Justin, how he gets his first date at the start of it. Go out with me, or I'll lay in traffic until I die. It all goes downhill from there. Standing outside someone's house who's mad at you or just broke up with you and throwing pebbles at their bedroom window, or playing music from a boombox and begging for attention, sending unsolicited love letters, or showing up unannounced at someone's home. However, in today's society, these actions could be perceived as intrusive or even creepy. Standing outside their window and serenading them with songs, and following them everywhere they go until they say yes. IRL today, that's called stalking and harassment. Going to the cinema on a date. You just sit in the dark for 2-3 hours and can't even talk with each other. Watching Netflix at home together is 10 times better idea. Intentionally dropping a handkerchief, and then someone running up to pick it up and return it to the owner. That was still a thing when I was a child. Everything. Most girls aren't used to romantic things anymore. If you do something romantic, 90% of the time they'll say that you're too nice. I think smacking a prospective partner over the head with a club and dragging her back to your cave is frowned upon by some people nowadays. The Japanese old way of proposing, which basically translates to, "Will you make me miso soup every morning for the rest of our lives?" You may fascinate a woman by offering her a piece of cheese. This would only work on me if it was brie though. Can't resist that stuff. A man enthusiastically continuing to pursue a woman after she has very directly said she does not want anything to do with him. The couple on the movie Titanic see. Unless you know the guy. No chick today is gonna fuck a homeless dude in their car. In the 19th century, it was believed tuberculosis was good looking for how gaunt and slim it made the victim look. Obligating a girl to be your wife when you were 12, and then starting a family 2 years later, medieval ages. Pestering a woman 20 times to go on a date until she finally relents just so you'll shut the hell up. Armed combat with lethal weapons has definitely gone out of fashion as a romantic gesture. Leaving an offering of purified water and honey outside your cottage on the vernal equinox. Holding up a boom box outside her bedroom window, blasting In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel. Just about anything. You practically need to have an attorney just to share a kiss anymore. ITT neo-puritanical kids rule coop themselves out of continuing the species. I roll. Letting your hair down from the castle, and someone making ropes out of it to climb up. Ordering for your date is not romantic in any way, but used to be considered such. You might want to watch this. Throwing rocks at someone's window to sing to them in the middle of the night. Stalker levels of persistence after being given a no the first time around. Gifting your pubes to your true love. Yes, this was a thing way back when. Men being extremely persistent. Also rushing into a relationship. The scene in Rocky, Ricky invites Adrian in Age Like Mill. Hitting a girl's head with a club and dragging her to your cave. Breaking into a woman's home and leaving her a box of milk tray. Going to a restaurant and having my date order my meal for me. Insanely aggressive flirting. It KTP people will do anything. Clubbing her over the head and dragging her back to the cave. Hitting her on the head and dragging her back to your cave. The dude ordering for the damsel when they go out to eat. I used to think it was so romantic to cook a man dinner. Asking a grown woman's father for her hand in marriage. Forcing a kiss because you just can't resist him/her. Asking a father for permission to marry his daughter. Ordering for your date without asking what they want. Getting married after 3 months of knowing each other. Having to get her father's approval before proposing.